Hey, folks, welcome back. Roland, Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. I saw a series of tweets by Chuck Rocha, who's a Democratic operative, and he had some tough words blasting white Democratic strategists as part of the problem for Democrats. Chuck joins us right now. Chuck, how you doing?
I'm good. Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, sorry I'm late. I got a Chicago police officer who once asked me to have permission to do my show from here, even though I'm in the corner, so I've done it before. But anyway, but of course, I called the mayor of Chicago to say you need to talk to him. Chuck, you were highly critical, and what you're spot on where I've been, where these white Democratic strategists won't listen and they keep running the same nonsensical campaigns every single day.
This is true, and it's one of the most underreported things in Democratic politics. People understand on this show, especially, the importance of black voters, Latino voters, Asian voters to the Democratic coalition. And every year we talk about how important black women are the backbone of this party and Latino voters are the persuadable universe. We got to get back this emerging AAPI electorate that we've got to talk to. The thing that's missing in all of these campaigns is there's no consultants, the folks actually making budgetary decisions that look like any of these communities. I like to say the diversity ends where the money begins, because there's plenty of our kind of people, working class, brown people, black people, that are staffing folks or working as staffers. But none of us, I've been doing this for 34 years, going back to when I worked for Ann Richards in Texas. My firm is the largest minority-owned political consulting firm in the nation. We've hired, trained, and mentored 135 young brown and black kids. That's more than every firm in D.C. combined, because there's just not a way to break into a network that's built around the good old boy and good old girl system if you're not from that system. And it's built like that on purpose, but because it's turned into a multi-billion-dollar industry. And that was fine in the beginning when black folks were voting for Democrats at 95%, Latinos were voting for them at 75%. But now, as the second, third, fourth generation of these folks have come of age and the internet happened, you can't just run the same old campaign and get the same results, brother.
Yep. And Chuck, what they're doing is they are so hard-headed, they won't listen. I can't tell you the issues that I have personally had when it comes to getting interviews, when it comes to getting advertising, and it's these white campaign strategists who control the money, who control the access, they control everything, and they literally tell black candidates what they can and cannot do. And I'm like, what are you doing? They don't put money on the ground. They want to put all the money on television, and it's crazy.
Your point is exactly right. And I hear the frustration because you and me are of a certain age and a certain time. And we remember how things used to be. It's much different now, because even when you have a black candidate, and I hate to say this, or a Latino candidate, every Latino and black candidate in America that's running for federal office, listen to me, write this down, all have a white media and a white polling consultant. Some of them may have Cornell or have Terrence doing polling, but 99% of them all have a media consultant or a polling consultant that's owned by a white woman and a white man. Now, here's what's different. Now that certain Democratic parties, the party committees or the super PAC, where there's lots of money, have started wisely demanding diversity in consulting. This is the good side of this system, where the DCCC and the Senate Majority PAC and others have said, look, we got a problem with Latino voters. Our performance is down with black voters. We want to have black and Latino consultants, and they're demanding that. And I give my hat literally to them. What I've seen, and just going to make you crazy, what I've seen these white consulting firms do then is go out and hire them a black senior staffer or Latino senior staffer. They'll have them in the meeting, but they have no power or no into any of these campaigns, and they're getting around the system because it's all about the money.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, United. Hold on. Okay, thanks. Chuck, sorry about that. I'm having an issue here. You got a police officer who's stopping me from doing the show, and I'm like, what the hell? If I was on a Zoom, you wouldn't be stopping me. So I had to, I tried not to flex, Chuck, but I had to call the mayor. So that was the mayor calling me back. So while you were talking, so my apologies. But we got it straight now. The mayor is taking care of this. So again, this is a perfect example. That's one good thing when you have black mayors who you can pick up the phone and call when you got problems like that. So all right, let's get back to the conversation.
Think about if you had a black congressman, if you had a black senator, black candidate, and they had folks from the community as part of their team. we would have closer connection to that power. You just flex that.
Right. And the thing, see, right. And this is my struggle with these damn campaigns. They don't even listen to the black people on the campaign. Let me tell you what happened during Hillary Clinton's campaign. It was insane. There were several African Americans, two, Jameer Burley and Zerlina Maxwell, who would appear on my TV One show talking about politics. Well, they then get hired by the campaign to reach out to do media, reach black people. They get hired by the campaign, then I couldn't get them on the show. And I'm like, why did y'all hire them? Then what was crazy is I was calling trying to get black male surrogates on the show. They had white campaign staffers who didn't know black people, who didn't know black media, and I could never get them on the damn show. And I'm like, what the hell are we doing? And so when you look at the hierarchy, who runs it, who controls the money, who controls the advertising, who controls the interviews, and this thing happens over and over again. So it happens in presidential campaigns, U.S. Senate races, congressional races, gubernatorial races, state rep, state senate, all down the line. And I keep saying, and I'm very specific, Chuck, and I was on CNN, on MSNBC, on ABC saying the problem is white Democratic strategists, and they get, oh my God, he's criticizing us. But that's the problem we're facing. They are so arrogant. They won't listen to people of color who are from the communities, and then they want to proclaim, hey, we're the experts at getting people elected.
Let me pull the curtain back a little bit, because I get to work and do a lot of stuff and work on a lot of campaigns. And what you've seen is there's a bifurcation or a split in where the real money and power in campaigns are. And I mentioned earlier how some of the super PACs and the party committees are now doing better work. They're hiring black consultants, they're hiring Latino consultants, they have Latinos and African Americans in charge of budget, and they're doing good work. They're literally saving congressional races. And we are allowed black and Latino consultants to be in there, and we've done some of the best work. That's how we picked up 4 congressional seats in Latino districts in a year that Kamala Harris did so bad. But to your point, where we're doing really bad is where the real power, and you just flexed it with the mayor of Chicago, is the candidate work. With the candidate is where the real power and influence comes in public policy and in that relationship. If you have that relationship with that state rep that runs for Congress and then runs for governor and then for president one day, you're around this power structure that there's not a lot of black folks, Latino folks around, because that's where we're not allowed to be in that space, because it's a good old boy and good old girl system. So we make a living. There's lots of us making a living in the independent expenditure space, working for nonprofits, working for Black PAC, working for Voto Latino, and these orgs, because there's so much money in the space. We can literally make a living without working for the candidates. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, and again, I want the people who are watching to understand, Chuck, and we have these conversations, and we know what's going on here. I think back, again, I'm going to go back to Kamala Harris's campaign. So what was the PAC? Priorities Forward? What was the PAC? It was the
FF.
Okay, Future Forward. That's what it was. I think that's what it was.
Future Forward.
Let me tell you how arrogant they were. Chuck, I called, I emailed, I texted. They wouldn't even respond. They wouldn't even hit me back. They wouldn't even meet. They were spending money. They literally were like, yeah, we ain't got to talk to him. We talked to him. And I was talking to other people who said, hey, I've already called and told them. No, they Future Forward never responded to an email. And the guy who was running it, I got his cell phone number. He never responded. And it was kind of like, whatever the hell. And then we find out 71% of their money was spent on television. And they were just burning ads in other places. And this is the kind of stuff we're talking about. And so here we are trying, we're trying to encourage people, reach people, talk to them. And these white strategists who go out and raise all this money. And here's the other issue, Chuck. It's the donor class. This the people who they keep giving the money to. And so what are we seeing now? Oh, Democrats, they weren't talking the digital shows and podcasts. And you know what? Guess what happened? The same white strategists all of a sudden are setting up new companies, coming up with ways to reach digital strategists. This is real simple for all Democrats. YouTube has a top 100, or even progressive. YouTube has a top 100 podcast list. I'm the only black news person on it. Last week was number 40. This week number 49. Only one. Everybody else is black. Hey, it's sports and entertainment. But do you think any of those folks are going to be calling and say, hey, we should be advertising on his show? No, because you know what they say, Chuck? We spend enough money on black people. We're going to put this money on white suburban women. And then when they lose and black people don't turn out, then they want to blame black people for they candidate losing.
It's a never-ending cycle that me and you have dealt with. And you know that there's somebody there giving them misinformation because a lot of time the candidate knows and they have a good feeling about it, but they're told by a consultant. Again, me and my wife have this argument all the time. She's like, nobody knows what a consultant does. They don't understand what your job is. Y'all at home should know that a lot of people who run for office for the first time, they really give away everything to the consultant to make the decision because they're scared to death that they're going to do something wrong. And they're well-intentioned. They don't want to do something that's not right. So if the consultant says, look, you ain't got to go on Roland show. He's a little crazy. You know, he's out there. He's calling people out. You don't want to stir no trouble because we take these candidates, these consultants, and they wrap them in bubble wrap, and they don't want them to do anything outside of what they normally should be doing. And that's why Democrats are in the position that we've been in, because somebody then fills that void like a Donald Trump, who's just spewing everything, lies, and folks are believing a big part of it because Democrats look so constructed when they talk, and they're never actually coming across as real people. And when you have connection to real people like you do, Roland, you talk to people, the real people, then folks are intimidated by you or by me. I'm a little bit of a mouthy East Texas consultant, you know, who talks my shit, but I've done it a long time. I'm not good because I just started this the other day. I'm good because I've done it and messed up a lot. So I try not to do that thing and mess up anymore.
There you go. And Chuck, and listen, the stuff those white strategists were saying about me, I know what they said about me in the Biden campaign and the Harris campaign and the other campaigns and the same thing. Because see what they want, and I'm going to go ahead, before I go to my panel, it's real clear. They want safe black people. They want safe Latinos. It's like, who can we control? So we're going to fund them. We want to kick money to them. And see, then I had, of course, these crazy black folks mad at me talking about, well, you got $350,000 from the Kamala Harris campaign. Chuck, do you know why people know how much I got? Because I told the Harris campaign, I'm not wasting time with your white media companies nickel and diming me. If y'all going to buy advertising, y'all going to buy direct. I'm not going through them where they come in with a bullshit metric games when the white media ain't got to put up any metrics. And so people were like, well, you got $350,000. First of all, I should have got $3.5 million. They spent more than $1 billion, and only when you look at only 20, according to one analysis, only $22 million of the Harris campaign was spent on black-owned media.
And $33 million was spent on Spanish language advertising from the same campaign. And you just said what was spent on general market. So that will tell you that I think now, I keep saying this every cycle, but I do think this now. We've hit rock bottom as a party with a lot of support from working class folks, a lot of young black folks, a lot of young Latino folks. And folks y'all should know, I should have started with this, is that I'm the only senior national Democratic consultant who's never been to college. I got a criminal record, and I was a teenage father. Any one of those three things should have kept me out of politics, and I'm all three of those, and I'm mouthy, and I run the most successful minority-owned political consulting firm in the country. That means that there is still hope for lots of us to do good work, and I think the Democratic Party now, to Roland's point, who, even though they're creating their own media systems, are going to say, look, we have to do things differently, because if we continue to do what they're doing, they're just going to continue to lose. That's my hope, and that's what I try to cling to every day.
Absolutely.
It's going to get better.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, I have been very vocal, and then I had somebody say, well, what about Republicans? I said, Republicans, and here's what I told them. Republicans won't call me for advertising, but you know what they did? They were running ads on my YouTube channel going through YouTube. See, so that's what they were doing. They were running ads on black shows by going to YouTube, but not going to the show. So folks need to recognize game. I want to go to my panel. Joy, first question, your question for Chuck. Go.
I mean, this was the best conversation we've had, and this is wonderful. Can you just tell me what is, just underscore for people why it's not enough to simply hire Black, brown, female, whomever strategists that work for big firms. Because there are some of them who are saying, you have to support me too, but the money doesn't go to them and they don't have their voice. I said it, but I want you to say it.
That's true. And there's also something that you're not saying that we haven't spoke about, and that is there's a lot of folks who have lived a certain lifestyle that went to really good schools. We have a lot of master's degree holding national political consultants trying to figure out how to reach working class folks. We got a lot of well-meaning white folks trying to figure out how to talk to Black women. We got a lot of well-meaning white folks trying to figure out that not all Latinos are the same. There's a difference between Puerto Ricans and Mexicans, and some of us even wear cowboy hats. The biggest difference to what you're talking about is if you have a young Black brother or sister or Latino in that firm and they're doing it, it's not so much that they don't have power, and they don't, but they're not making the ad. They're not part of the creative team. That's still a group of white production, and that's the key.
Yep. And the thing is, because when you have cultural competence, you know what phrases work, what tone works, what messaging works. Nola, question, go.
Thank you so much for your scrappiness. And that is my question as a Black woman, because I feel like we are invisible and visible at the same time, and we can't always show up our full selves. And when we do, we get dinged for it. Do you think, not do you think, but how do you see gender, not just the race component, but gender? How does that work in a consulting class? We can be in the room, but we can't be too loud.
Yeah, and you're right. And part of what you're saying, you should know this, and this will shock people because how we talk about Black women being the backbone of the party, as we should, is there's not a single, not one majority Black female-owned media firm in the Democratic Party. When we do Black media,
boom,
big races, I have seen these, let's just call them PACs and party committees and others who demand that we have Black-owned firms have to go to commercial America. Folks that are making commercials to reach Black people from Coca-Cola, they bring them in to do, because there's not a Black woman-owned media firm in modern politics today. Because y'all know, I know, because I'm the CEO of my firm, it takes a lot of capital and a lot of risk, and I ain't got no backup plan. Ain't nobody in my family gonna give me no money. So when you have that structure built like that, it just keeps people out. And then if you are a little mouthy, like Chuck Rocha, I won't say it about you, but some Black women or somebody else who just has an opinion, then you're some troublemaker, to Roland's point, and you're not going along to get along. And the only reason I can come over here and talk about this is I've been doing it for 35 years. I'm a senior statesman now. They're going to hire me. I'm going to do the ads, but it also, they know I'm going to demand diversity. And it's not the party committees or the super PACs. I'm telling you, they have hired 14 Black and brown firms on all this. It's the candidates. Because let me finish with this, Roland. The candidates, guess what else they do, Roland? Yep. They pay full commission at the candidate level. When you go to work for the PAC,
yep,
or Black PAC or somebody else, they ain't got that kind of money, so they're paying a reduced commission on the buy. But if you're working directly for the candidate, you get that full pretty commission, which has built a lot of white consultants, that beach house down at the coast, you know?
Boom. That's why they got the yacht, the second home, all that sort of stuff. Greg, go ahead.
Thank you, Roland, and thank you, Chuck. Chuck, I'm thinking about the lawsuit that y'all filed years ago, almost 20 years ago, the Lulac versus Perry lawsuit, of course, dealing with the last time that the Republicans tried to dismiss in Texas with redistricting. And I'm thinking about it in terms of their attempt to turn brown folk against Black folk, with saying, oh, we're expanding access and we've got these Latina districts. What is the way, in the wake of what seems to be certain redistricting in Texas, what is the way to enter these gerrymandered districts at this late date and turn these folk who are being used against each other into a coalition? Is there a way to do it? What role do you think at this point the consultants can have? Because I doubt it's about television ads at this point, at this late date. But what are your thoughts, particularly since you've been through these wars many times? And again, I'm thinking about it in the context of LULAC versus Perry. What are the ways that we can move at this point to build the kind of coalitions that can make this redistricting effort backfire on these white nationalists?
There's two things. You have to disqualify the Republicans in a common pain in what they're doing that is a pain to black folks, brown folks, Asian folks, and mostly working class folks, even a bunch of white rednecks where I grew up in trailer houses down the road from me. And that is things that you can tangibly point to, which is not me and you got the problem, but what they're doing to me and you. When they cut SNAP benefits, when they cut Medicaid, it affects both these communities. And this is where you show what those people are doing for us. But Democrats, the second piece of this is what we really suck at. And that is then telling an aspirational story about what you're going to do to help lift these folks up and give them an opportunity to do other things, whether it's get them a job, help them do whatever, healthcare, education. In every community, it's a little different. We do a good job at saying Donald Trump is crazy and that they doing this thing. But going in and focusing on a common, not say villain, but a common hurt. I talk about that hunger don't got a color. I talk about how pain don't have a feeling of girl or boy. It's a common struggle that we have to get back to. And as organizers, me as an old labor organizer, that's something that we've forgotten about a lot with the party, is that organizing around a common pain.
Well, listen, Chuck, you nailed it. And the thing that I'm trying, and I'm telling you right now, I've made it perfectly clear. I have said this to the DSCC, to DCCC, to all these folks. Don't call me big and trying to get candidates on and you ain't spending no damn ad money. Not when I'm seeing your ads running elsewhere. Because you know what? Like, I'm standing right here I had a speech in Milwaukee at noon. I got to catch a 9 o'clock flight, and this is the only way I could get back home tonight. And so I'm literally set up right now in the airport. Well, guess what? These lights and this tripod and this camera and this live view streaming unit and the portable batteries, all this stuff costs money. It all costs money. I got people in the chat right now complaining about YouTube running commercials while you were talking. Well, guess what? When we ain't getting advertising money, that's the only way we can actually generate money. We got to scrap to make this thing happen. And to your point about these firms, it is nonsensical. They barely use black posters. And then what they do is, like, out of all these campaigns, you don't see major black-owned firms coming out of these campaigns, because the reality is they're not going to get the work from the next candidate. And what these folks do, they lose a race and they just go to the next one. And they collect those big commissions. And the reason they want to dump all that money on television, because they get a percentage of the ad buys. That's why they don't want to put the money on the ground. And so I hope with this reckoning that is real. But I'm going to tell you right now, I've told some people perfectly clear, don't come to me begging in 2026, because if you don't have the ad money, I can talk about anything else I want to, and I ain't got to lift a damn finger. But what's not going to happen, Chuck, is if they're going to sit here and play this game of coming offering a crumb and trying to convince me it's a meal.
And I appreciate you. And as somebody who's done this a long time, there's not very many platforms like this one. It's what makes it special. You should be compensated for how special it is. And now you've built this with your team. I've built my firm with my team. Folks like us don't have a lot of backup, like I said before. So know that I see you and I appreciate it. And I think that we'll have much more conversations as we go forward. And we should think about teaming up and doing some black-brown stuff together.
Hey, Chuck, let's do it, because here's the deal. I own it. I ain't got to ask nobody. Congressman Ro Khanna was just on, and he asked me, he said, hey, come to me, do one of these town halls with white working class voters. I said, I'll be there, but it's going to be a little rough for them when I start talking. So let's make it happen. And I'm always happy to hang with a fellow Texan. I was traveling, so I didn't have my cowboy hat, but trust me, I got about 25 of them at the house.
No, I know. I've been watching you. You know that, brother. I like it. I don't come on here this late night on a weekday, on a school night for anybody, but I do it for you, brother. Let me know, and let's do it again soon.
Chuck, I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.